In the midst of a zombie apocalypse, a man with amnesia pieces together his lost memories to find his missing girlfriend, only to uncover an unsettling truth about her fate. One night a couple is on their way to a shelter when a drowsy Ethan falls asleep while driving, causing a crash. Suddenly he awakens alone in an unfamiliar vehicle which appears damaged from an impact. What confuses him the most is the presence of a cast on his left arm and a trail of blood leading outside. Worried that it's from his lover, he exits the car to search for Emma. Upon arriving at a ravaged, desolate neighborhood, he enters the hospital hoping that his doctor girlfriend might be staying there. Unfortunately, she remains missing. Much to his disappointment, outside he encounters two survivors riding a truck. Optimistic they can help him, the armed man asks if he's lost and he admits he just woke up with no idea where he is. Without explanation, the man threatens to shoot him, prompting him to take cover. At that moment, an unseen person fires at the gunman and his accomplice, subduing them. Eventually an aged woman appears and she unremorsefully finishes the pair. Desperate, he asks her about his girlfriend's whereabouts, but she ignores him and scolds him for wandering alone. Shortly after, in her residence, she introduces herself as May. He expresses his acknowledgement but confesses that he has amnesia to clarify things. Surprisingly, she's indifferent about it and swiftly changes the subject by ordering him to get changed. When he's back in the kitchen, the curious homeowner asks him about his latest memory. He remembers gathering supplies with Emma and heading to their cabin, clinging to the hope of finding her there. Just then he notices a wall filled with newspaper clippings about the plant-based virus that caused the zombie apocalypse. Baffled, he inquires May about the disaster and she informs him that it's believed to be the planet's attempt to reclaim balance. He's surprised that the virus has quickly claimed lives in days, but the elder simply remarks that nature's power should never be underestimated. In the middle of their conversation, the electricity shuts down, prompting her to check the generator. Once she's away, the impatient guest wanders outside, wanting to resume his search for his girlfriend. Scanning the area, he discovers the fallen survivors' truck with their bodies missing from the trunk. He assumes his savior has buried them, so he heads to her location. On his way to her backyard, he spots an undead woman trapped in the shed, terrifying him. He tries to warn May about it, but she's unfazed. She informs him that the zombie is named Myrtle and emphasizes that she's harmless. As she resumes tinkering with the generator, she encounters trouble fixing it. Noticing this, Ethan offers to help, recalling his expertise in electrical repairs. Convinced, she hands him the tool and, true to his words, he efficiently fixes the faulty wiring. That afternoon, Ethan quickly finishes his meal, reminding the homeowner that he needs to find Emma before it gets late. However, the older woman demands something in return for accommodating him. He must power her generator by pedaling. By night, after his task, the guest finds a framed photograph on the shelf. Curious, he picks it up, discovering two lovers sweetly holding each other, whom he assumes to be May and her alleged husband. Though touched at the sight, he soon remembers that he must also search for his lover. Thus he heads to the living room and tells her he must leave, craving companionship. The lonely woman stops him by inviting him to dance. Feeling indebted to her hospitality, he eventually gives in. Moments later, May guides him to his room, but he insists on leaving because he promised to protect his girlfriend. Regardless, she advises him to go to sleep, stressing the dangers that loom outside. Now that it's night, she promises to help him find her tomorrow to stop him from worrying. Once alone, Ethan gets ready to leave when he recalls agreeing with Emma to meet at the cabin by Candle Lake if they ever separated. He immediately heads outside and proceeds to steal the survivor's truck. On his way, he becomes drowsy and dreams of shooting a man, leaving him restless. Before he can process the unsettling memory, he awakens and realizes that he has arrived safely at his destination. At the cabin, he attempts to call for his lover, but no one responds, so he decides to break in instead of his girlfriend. He meets Jolene and her son Sam, who are now living in their supposed shelter. Threatened by his presence, the woman aims her gun at him, but he assures her that he means no harm and only wants to find Emma. Unfortunately, she reveals that she has never encountered her. Suddenly an infected creature appears, disturbed by the man's shouts from earlier. Afraid for their safety, Jolene pushes the door to keep it from entering the room. Since the undead displays immense strength, Ethan comes to her rescue, though they successfully shove it outside. The zombie grabs the survivor's hair from the door's opening, disarming her. Sam tries to fend off the intruder with a hammer, but his strikes are ineffective. Meanwhile, the man attempts to shoot it only to realize the gun is empty, frustrating him. Desperate to save the family, he snatches the hammer and bashes the creature's skull, finally subduing it. Following this, Ethan peeks out of a small crevice and sees a group of zombies lurking outside. He locates the one he tried to kill earlier. Alarmed that it's still alive, Jolene enlightens him by stressing that the plant-like beings are resilient, so a simple blow to the head won't suffice. This time she becomes curious about him, particularly the cast on his arm. Due to his blurry memory, he assumes he got it after an accident with his girlfriend. She then asks when he last saw her, and he replies that it was just a few days ago. The survivor finds it strange because they've been staying in the cabin for a few weeks. With this in mind, she discourages him from trying to search for Emma, fearing she might be infected already. The following morning, the man awakens in a messy state. He's lying on the floor with blood smeared on his face. At that moment, another fragment of memory flashes, recalling that the undead has returned and killed Jolene. Upon seeing her lifeless body, Ethan begins to mourn for her, but seeing plants starting to grow from her, he quickly exits the cabin. Another traumatic sight haunts him, for he encounters a woman feeding on helpless prey. As if sensing his presence, the undead leaves, allowing him to check on the lifeless person. He soon recognizes the body as Sam's, which breaks his heart for the poor child. Before he can continue his mourning, the zombie appears behind him and tries to seek help from him. Unable to process the fact that she's infected, however, May arrives and shoots her, assuming she's attacking him. Despite her injury, the infected remains alive and continues to plead for help, but the survivor proceeds to shoot her. She also guns Sam down, explaining to Ethan that it's necessary to prevent him from reanimating. While she heads to the cabin to deal with Jolene's corpse, the man notices a bird's house that bears the same mark as Emma's tattoo. Immediately he pries it open and recovers a phone that belongs to his girlfriend. May then approaches him and reminds him of her name, believing he has forgotten about her. After acknowledging her, he powers up the phone and watches a video of her lover. She tearfully informs him that she prepared the video to reveal that his amnesia is getting worse. Suddenly the phone shuts down due to a low battery, frustrating him because he has yet to learn of Emma's message. May quickly intervenes as his voice can attract more infected, fearing it will make their escape more challenging. To appease him, she offers to let him use her charger at her place. The pair heads to the truck's location, and Ethan has forgotten that he has driven the vehicle and drained its battery. With no other option, the woman decides they'll use the bicycle to commute to her house. As they near their destination, the pair arrives at a gas station, which evokes his memories. Back then, the couple went there to gather supplies, but an infected person suddenly approached Emma. Worried her boyfriend shot him in the torso, but it remained unaffected. Therefore, he fired a bullet through his head, which immediately incapacitated him. When he checked on her, the undead grabbed his hand, causing him to awaken in the present. Once the pair arrives at the farmhouse, May notices a sign of an intrusion attempt. Cautious, she pulls out her gun and heads to her backyard, where she sees the intruder hiding. The stranger feels threatened when he sees her weapon and clarifies that he only tried to break in because he thought the house was abandoned and wanted to take advantage of the electricity. He then informs them that he's Tom and is looking for his missing wife. The landlord remains distrustful and orders him to surrender his gun, which he begrudgingly complies with. Desperate and hungry, he pleads with her to spare him some food, and she agrees under one condition: for every meal he eats, he must finish it or later. As the new guest chops some wood, he abruptly excuses himself, reasoning that he must urinate. Unbeknownst to Ethan, Tom retrieves another weapon he's hidden near the broken truck. Just then May appears and offers them a picture of cold lemonade to reward their hard work. Then she guides them back to her house to feed them their meal for the day. While the visitor washes his hands, the older woman orders Ethan to lie that he isn't hungry, promising to cook for him later. Instead of explaining, she insists he obeys her for his own good. After dinner, the guest shows a picture of Fran, his wife, explaining that she disappeared 10 days ago. He remembers she was planning to forage at a house with electricity. Despite the weeks that she's gone, he's optimistic that she's still alive. Suddenly the amnesiac man becomes nauseous, causing him to break a glass. Concerned, May quickly comes to his rescue by helping him get to his room to rest. However, he proceeds to faint further further worrying her. As she tends to him, Tom threatens to shoot her, demanding she surrender her weapon if she wants to live. Upon stealing her gun, he strikes her, assuming that she poisoned Ethan with the lemonade. Just then he exhibits the same symptoms, and the woman unremorsefully reveals that she spiked his food with sleep-inducing medication. Taking this opportunity, she grabs a speaker and uses it to knock him unconscious. That night Ethan awakens without recollection of what has transpired. He finds two bandits barging into the house, making him uneasy. Fox approaches Tom to check on him, revealing that he's their comrade. Eventually May appears with a syringe in hand, but Wolf grabs her from behind once the intruder binds her to the chair. He confronts her about the syringe and she lies that it's her insulin shot. However, he doubts her and instead strikes her for deceiving him. Soon enough, Tom regains consciousness and vows to search the house for any sign of his wife. He invites Ethan to join him, promising to help him find Emma, whom he believes is one of the elders. Prey in May's room, the amnesiac man finds his lover's locket on the floor, making him feel betrayed. The bandits' leader expresses his sympathy and offers to punish the woman for him. In the living room, Wolf is curious about what she's hiding in her barn, but the woman lies that it only contains junk. Since he's skeptical of her, he orders his comrade to guard her, volunteering to check on it. Right after, Tom returns downstairs and confronts May about the bag containing various belongings from people she took in. She provides no explanation as guilt renders her silent. He then discovers Fran's necklace in there pile, breaking his heart at the idea that she has met her demise. At that moment, a furious Ethan appears and threatens the elder with the gun. He interrogates her about Emma's fate and she confirms that she perished a long time ago. However, she insists she wasn't the one who killed her. Though her words fail to convince him, she proceeds to reveal that he's also dead, but this revelation only causes him to faint. Meanwhile, Wolf discovers that the barn has been converted into a makeshift medical facility where a patient is kept on life support for organ harvesting. Horror grips him as he realizes it's their missing comrade, prompting him to flee and report his discovery. Unfortunately, he trips on a trap, causing a huge explosion outside. Fox, who's about to summon his accomplice, gets tangled in the blast, killing him on the spot. Myrtle then takes the opportunity to devour him, finally satiating her hunger. Back in the house, Ethan starts to panic as memories of him devouring Jolene return. Tom then announces that he'll kill her to avenge his fallen wife, but she remains unfazed. The moment he shoots her, his hand shatters as a special button in May's makeshift gun is activated, causing the bullet to backfire. The scent of his blood causes Ethan to lose his mind and attack him. Later, the elder woman comforts him as he feels remorseful for committing monstrous acts. She further encourages him to devour the flesh, assuring him he'll forget about it tomorrow. True enough, the next day he awakens and fails to recognize her, pushing the herd away. She invites him to hunt with her, emphasizing that they're running out of food. Just as he gets out of bed, he reminisces about a memory with Emma when they searched for another shelter years ago. The couple found a house resembling May's in the middle of nowhere. They met a man named Kai and his daughter Caroline, who pointed a gun at them in case they made unwanted actions. Once the introductions were exchanged, Emma pleaded with him to let them stay since he was wary of strangers. He interrogated them about where they came from and she revealed that they had a crash. He then ordered them to disrobe, clarifying that he wanted to check if they had any infected injuries. Though against their will, the lovers complied, not wanting to lose their chance of surviving. The patriarch explained that he wanted to ensure his remaining family's safety, given that his son perished due to his complacency. Returning to the present, Ethan accompanies May in hunting when he notices that the supposed red heart on his cast is now green. Insulted that the elder has tampered with his girlfriend's drawing, he threatens to shoot her. She explains that she simply ran out of red markers, which reignites one of his memories. He recalls being bitten when he saved Emma from the zombie at the gas station. Realizing this, he rips the cast open, revealing an infected bite with sprouts. To enlighten him, the woman informs him that whenever he feeds, his transformation halts and he regains his consciousness. Because of this, he gets transported back to a memory of when the couple stayed with Kai's family during their meal. Ethan showed discomfort, so his girlfriend pretended that they needed to wash their hands just to evade the perceptive eyes. Once they were away, Sarah, the matriarch, worried they might welcome infected guests. Her husband felt the same way but remained calm in front of their daughter. Not long after, Emma returned alone to the dining table, which raised the spouse's suspicion. Thus the patriarch ordered his wife to take Caroline outside. At first she was hesitant, so he decided to intimidate her with a gun. Eventually his wife guided their daughter to the door, but her curiosity got the best of her. Instead of leaving, the pair headed upstairs to check on their visitor in the bathroom. A worried Sarah opened the door and a hungry Ethan pounced at her, causing her to scream in fear. Kai was disturbed by this, but before he could rescue her, Emma stabbed him in the chest. Despite his fatal injury, he managed to slam her head into the casserole dish, leaving a deep wound on her face. He then shoved her to the floor, unaware that he had given her the chance to retrieve the gun. Unremorsefully she shot him and he instantly perished. On the other hand, her boyfriend devoured Sarah and Caroline, but upon regaining his senses, guilt overcame him. In the present, Ethan realizes that May has been the woman he's been searching for all along. With her secret exposed, she confesses to feeding him fresh human flesh for years to preserve his youthful appearance. Throughout the years she stayed by his side, repeating the routine of feeding and keeping him clean, until one day he stopped recognizing her, so she pretended to be someone else to prevent him from being unsettled. Unable to accept his fate, he attempts to end his life by shooting himself, but his body recovers. Tired of such a life, May kisses him and surrenders herself to him as he devours her. She reminisces about their happy memories as lovers. Now that she's infected, the couple holds hands as they finally have another chance to rekindle their doomed relationship.